Introduction to Job Scheduler Framework. Job Scheduler Framework is quite a recent addition to Android API, and it's available since Lollipop, so it won't be available on older devices. Its API is quite simple. It's used to create and schedule various kinds of background tasks that your application is expected to execute, and it's also quite powerful. So you can define when the task can be executed. Does it require network? Does it require device to be idle? And does it need to be charging? Things like that. It's really powerful and it's really useful. There are other ways to schedule background tasks or time tasks. So you could use maybe Alarm Manager. There's Job Dispatcher from Firebase. Also, there's things like Sync Adapter and GCM Network Manager. However, all of these are quite limited, or either they require big additional libraries like Firebase, it's quite a big one, or just deprecated like GCM Network Manager. Introduction to Android Job Library. In essence, it's a very similar library to Job Scheduling Framework, and all you're gonna need to make it work is just include this one line in the build Gradle file. And the scheduling itself, again, it's very simple. You just create a new request for job. You can specify whether it's periodic, is it exact, what kind of requirements are there, must the device be charging, and so on. Now let's take a look at the code, how to set up more in detail. So basically, here we have the required dependency. And next, we're gonna need this additional jobs module to make it work with Dagger. So here we create a job manager class, which is basically a core class that's gonna be used for scheduling jobs. We also can see that it requires reference to the application class and job creator. Then, app job creator is responsible for creating jobs themselves. So you can look at it like as a place where all the dependencies for those jobs can be handled, and where those tasks, basically it's a factory. So this app job creator is used in job manager. Finally, as an example, we'll use portfolio sync job. We're gonna take a look at it briefly. And scheduling is, again, very simple. We create a job. Here we use the builder, job request builder. We set the name of our task. Then we say that it's going to be executed in 10 milliseconds from the execution. And it's then scheduled using job manager that has been injected here. Fetching periodic stock updates. So let's just take a look at the code. And here we're going to take an in-depth look at this portfolio sync job class, which is responsible for updating our portfolio with the recent stock prices. So there is identifier that's used by Android Job Library to find the right task to execute. Also, we can see that there are a few dependencies here. There is stock update service class that's responsible for retrieving the current price of the stock, and then portfolio repository that we use to retrieve our current portfolio. Then the actual work happens in this on-run job method, which actually just executes the actual work that happens in the task. So here we create observable from our retrieved portfolio items. Then for each of those items that we have created, it's gonna retrieve the most recent stock price using our previously created service with the Retrofit. Then we pair the received price with our current item that we are receiving the price for. And finally, at this very last block, it's gonna update the price on our portfolio item and save it. At the moment, the same method is empty. We're just gonna fill it in the later sections. But also we have here some logging to see that the job, this task is actually working. So here we can see actually in the logs that it retrieved recent prices for Google, Microsoft, and Twitter. Well, in this section, we saw lots of different things. But basically it was about structuring code in such a way that it's easy to maintain, and using the industry's best practices to make the code base more maintainable and just easier to develop. In the next section, we're going to take a look about data persistence and the options that we have to do that.